Hi guys, my name is Lily Matthews and my presentation is on Quakerism. So, Quakerism was an early religious movement that began in England in the 17th century. George Fox started the religion of Quakerism because he believed the Church of England was straying away from the original Christian beliefs and that the teachings were false teachings and they were being disconnected from Jesus and what the prophecies and stories of the Bible had originally said. So he wanted to return to the original and more simple form of Christianity and make sure people were getting to know the correct teachings and the correct stories of the Bible and how God really was. So, when Quakerism was still early and it was a new religion, they were originally called the Religious Society of Friends, but other people started calling them Quakers because when they would feel spiritual energy or when they would feel the presence of God was really with them, they would shake. So that's how they got their names of Quakers. Um, so before the Toleration Act of 1689 was created, people did not have religious freedom like we do now. So Quakers would often be persecuted or be put in prison because of their beliefs since they did not have freedom. Some of the simple teachings that the Quakers wanted to return to were nonviolence, which this just meant that they wanted and to solve problems they did not believe in, warfare or fighting or wars, and they believed there was a better way to solve these problems. Another one was simple living. So they just believed in a lifestyle with more simplicity and with non-materialistic items. Um, since now we do live in a very materialistic world, they wanted to return to just a more simple and easy lifestyle. Another one was God's concern for the marginalized. And marginalized just means to treat someone as if they're not important. And the Quakers really wanted, they really wanted to make sure and they believed that everyone should be treated the same and that everyone was just as important. So they cared a lot for the vulnerable and the more oppressed members because um, they believed everyone was equal and that no one should be treated if they're different or as if they're not important. Because in God's eyes, they believed everyone was the same. So another one was equal access to God's Spirit. This just believed, one of their major beliefs was that everyone had access to God's Spirit and they could have direct communication with God, and nothing was through anything, but God will come directly to them to speak to them. So, like I said, their main belief is that all people do have direct experiences with God. So instead of going to church and having a pastor preach to you, or a priest, they believe that you will know when God is speaking to you because he will talk directly to you. So in the Bible, just how it says, God communicates directly with people, like in his stories and his preaching. The Quakers believe that God will still do this to anyone at any time. And you'll know when it's happening. It won't be through anything, but you'll hear God directly speaking to you. So when Quakers worship, they have meetings, and they're usually at places that they call meeting houses. But instead of how church is normally these days, where we sing and there's pastors and you're all sitting in quiet, they'll sit in a circle and nothing will be around, and someone will only speak if they feel moved to by God. So another big point of why this is important to American literature is that many of the earliest settlers in America were Quakers, and a lot of literacy figures were Quakers as well. And Quakerism started in America, mainly in Pennsylvania, when Pennsylvania was an early colony. And so a lot of Pennsylvania's government and political figures were Quakers, so Quakerism was a big part in Pennsylvania. Um, so also now, Quakers were people that were advocates of anti-slavery and women's rights movements. So like I said, Quakerism is a very large movement, just how now there's movements on how everyone should be equal and um, everyone has the right to the same things. So Quakerism and Quakers were a big part of letting everyone have equal rights.